Oh, Rams Nation joining you after a much needed win over the New England Patriots, 28-22. Gentlemen, we did it. We did not screw this up. Rams Nation, we did not screw this game up. And look, I said they would lose in our roundtable a couple days ago. I did not feel good about it. Like I said, happy to be wrong, rooting for the Rams, and we got exactly what we were hoping for out there in Foxboro, which the Rams haven't won since the greatest show on turf in 2001, by the way. And again, I know we don't play them very much out there, but been a long time, and it was thank God we held on and won this game. Gentlemen, how do you guys feel? Mark, how do you feel, dude?
Well, it was absolutely more stressful than it needed to be. When we connected on that 69-yard pass, whatever it was, I kind of like thought, okay, man, we're good to go. And then we can't get it. Just it would nice to get it. It'd be nice to get a 3-and-out after a series like that, where you go up with a big play like that, and we just couldn't put the Patriots away. Got to give them credit. Got to give Drake May credit. A lot of things went against us. We had a handful of bonehead plays, penalties especially. But hey, the way I look at it is, when you fly across the country, especially with a real young team, play an early morning game, a 10 o'clock game, our time on the East Coast, and you come away with a W, I'm happy, mission accomplished. I don't care how difficult it is, what hoops you got to jump through, what mistakes you got to overcome. Just come home with a W. That's all that matters.
That's like people like to say, straight facts, Mark. Straight facts. What about you, Paul? I mean, what's your quick initial reaction over this much needed win today? Because God, I was stressing.
Yeah, sometimes you got to win ugly, and that's exactly what they did. So the Rams are fortunate; they have a lot of opportunities that have gone their way. They're at 500. If you look at the NFC West, right, the door has been opened. So now the Rams just have to sort of kick it down and seize the momentum and moving forward. They have 7 games to sort of define their season.
Yeah. My quick thoughts. It feels like every Rams game, I'm just ready to have a mental meltdown football wise. I Seahawks fans. I have a couple buddies who were Seahawks fans. In the distant past because of family, but then they moved over to be more Rams Nation and stick with the city that they're in. And they were like, "Man, my dad's gonna have a meltdown every Seahawks game, every game they can't win convincingly." Well, I guess we've experienced a lot of that this season, huh, Rams Nation? But man, oh man, it was good to see finally the offense show up and produce. And you know what was the main reason? Everybody, gentlemen, here with me, starting freaking Bo Limmer. I mean, that was the right decision. That was a decision that shouldn't have been a question mark last week against the Dolphins. Bo Limmer, in my opinion, and I'm sure you agree with me too, gentlemen, he was playing at a Pro Bowl borderline, you could argue all pro level. I mean, 0 sacks given up, minimal pressures, I think like less than 5 for the whole season thus far since game 1 up until, his benching against the Dolphins last week. Dude was fantastic. Kudos to the staff realizing, all right, Jonah Jackson, he's not a center. He's not our best option. He's not even better at guard than Steve Avila right now or Kevin Dotson. And they went with the best crew. And then also shout out to Warren McClendon having another nice game at right tackle. He had some really crappy moments, Rams Nation, in those first games where he had to play, right? We think of the Lions game where he was thrusted in. Wasn't good. We think of the Arizona game, which was a disaster, not just from him, but from everybody. But he was very much a part of why things went to crap in that game against the Cardinals. We saw him not much after. We saw him come in for Rob against the Seattle Seahawks late in the game. Had no blemishes, had no mess ups. We won that game. He held it down. And then today, against a front that I thought was very good, a defense for the Patriots who I thought was very good. He did a fantastic job. And what a shocker. The young guns on the O-line, another game was 0 sacks on Stafford. Fantastic. So I think they're a big part of why we won. And look, defense, there's still a lot of stuff that bothers me. I mean, there's the front 7 as a whole has played significantly better. You could argue that it is a top 10 unit based on some stats that are out there. But there is things to clean up schematically in the back end. A lot of cover 6 where we just get shredded in quarters coverage and people are wide open. That's got to change and fix. There's got to be some switches up in that Hopefully maybe cover 2, more cover 3. But that's more schematics. At the end of the day, they didn't screw it up. They did enough to win. Offense showed up. Colby Parkinson had a freaking touchdown. Shout out to another guy who, was a free agent failure that we proclaimed a while back. And, it's good to see him get involved finally. And it was a good day. Stress. But like we said, Rams win, everybody. And thank God. Thank the football gods. But on top of that, let's go through some stats here, everybody, right? Quarter by quarter, another blunder of a first quarter by our Rams offense, of course, right? I think it's the Eagles and 2 other teams who are worse in the first quarter than us. I mean, that's not a stat you want to be on. So that's got to change sometime for us to be able to get the 10 wins and hopefully get in the tournament. So no good, no bueno. But you see the 14-14 in the third. That's where all the magic happened. And then luckily we were able to help out the whole unit, the whole team with defense showing up in those second and third quarters, and then not blowing it in the fourth. Luckily, so good job by them. By the unit there. If we go to the key moments, Fisk gets the sack. Colby recovers the fumble, like the graphic we showed before, and then Karty here, gentlemen. I want your thoughts on young California Karty, Playboy Karty, whatever, Joshua Karty, whatever you like to call him, Rams Nation.
It's interesting that moments before that kick in the morning games, I was watching the game with my son, and we were commenting on how 59-yard field goals seem to be just no big deal. Everybody's kicking 58-yarders, 56-yarders, and Joshua Karty, in his defense, kicked 2 50-yarders last week. You can't miss that kick, though. I don't know where the blame lies. The snap and the hold looked fine, but that is really concerning, and probably why the Rams opted for the punt later on rather than the field goal late there. And I'm glad. I think I'm glad they punted in that situation. That would have been scary. But he's got to get better.
Yeah. What about you, Paul? What's your thoughts on Karty missing again? Oh, I haven't said this yet. The shortest missed field goal this season. So it was, the worst missed field goal you could say in another way thus far in the season. No bueno. What are your thoughts on that, Paul?
I mean, he's shown that he can hit the clutch kicks, like you were saying in that game. He bombed a couple of 50-yarders. So I think with the young kickers, sometimes like they get so caught up in like the angles, and that's what it looked like to me. When he was lining it up, it looked odd to me when he was lining it up. So I think sometimes they get caught up too frequently with these angles. And he'll learn over time. You just put it through the uprights, you'll be fine. Don't overthink it. That might have been a case because he put it right off the upright. So look, he's shown for a rookie. He's hit some big kicks for the Rams. So I think down the stretch he'll be a lot better. But it was the right move to go for the punt. That was absolutely the right move. The defense was playing well, but and I think for the comment about all the long range field goals, it's because now the field goal kickers don't have to worry about kicking it off all season, right? So that their legs are like conserved. They're much healthier. So I think that might play into it as well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And my quick thoughts on young Karty there missing it. I mean, he can't miss that. It was just unacceptable. And Sean McVay said in his post-game press conference where he was asked why he went for the punt, and he basically said, I didn't believe in the field goal unit. Long story short, go back and watch that, Rams Nation, if you got time on YouTube, where the Rams always have those available after the game, where he didn't have faith in the unit, which is basically a long way of saying I didn't believe in Karty. He didn't have his stuff today. And I understand the Miami game. He scored all the points. He had multiple 50-yarders, and that's good. We know he has the leg, Rams Nation, gentlemen, here with me. But he is wildly inconsistent, and he has to get his kicking fortitude, his will, right, as a kicker together, because he cannot be missing kicks like this for us to be able to have a chance to get into the playoff tournament, right? If he has another game like this, that could be the difference between getting in the playoffs, maybe as a 7 seed, or even winning the West or not. And he has to get it together. Again, we've seen it. We know he can do it, which is the good thing, but he cannot have any more of those blunders, PAT or field goal attempts. So, man, oh man, that was stressful. So we move on. Another key moment was Stafford to Cup on the 69-yard touchdown on the second play after the halftime had started, and that was a huge play. And then obviously you had the other stuff with Cup, connecting a bunch beforehand. But gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the rejuvenation of the Cup and Stafford duo coming to life finally this season, and especially in this game? What about you, Mark?
Oh man, it's just so much fun watching Cup run out there, Cup and Puka. Other teams must fan bases, the Patriots fan base, watching Stafford, Cooper Cup, and Puka Nacua run out there together with Kyron Williams. They must be envious, to put it bluntly. Two great receivers, and Cooper Cup. I mean, he's just special. He's just a special player, and yeah, it's great to see. And I love seeing Stafford flash the 0 for cover 0. Saw it all the way. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff indeed, man. Paul, what are your thoughts on the passing game? Cup, Stafford, Nacua, all of them finally showing up and helping us out.
Yeah, that was great. The gunslinger, he has his young guns back, so that's a big deal. And you saw Stafford out there. This is why he's the greatest, man. He's having fun, regardless of what the record is on the season. He's having fun out there. He's leading his team. He knows that this team is going to come together. Cooper's working his way back from injury. We know that Puka Yak Kua is working his way back from injury. So, and D-Rob is just, he's probably, if not one of the top WR3s in the league. So there's a lot of weaponry there, and kudos to the Rams, to their personnel. For there could have been on a lot of teams, there could have been a lot of infighting in terms of not getting playing time and things like that, particularly in a crowded wide receiver room, and even the way that their tight ends have sort of come together. Even though we know with Parkinson and everything else, the playing time being reduced. But they've stuck together. They've galvanized as a team. It's going to pay huge dividends down the road. That deep strike attack, that component, it has returned hopefully to the Rams offense. And that's going to make it a lot harder on teams to sort of compress the field on them. So this is going to pay huge, huge dividends down the road.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then Rams Nation, I mean, I've been incredibly critical of this Rams offense and how basic it is. But today, I have nothing bad to say. Other than I would like to see more screens. I think that's still something that irks me, and a little more diversity in the run game I would like. But they got it done. Big plays were made. Big throws were made. And while we're on that subject of Cooper Kupp and Nacua, on X, formerly known as Twitter, I saw a fun little picture here by the Mamba Show and Doyer's Day, where it's like, hey, Mini Puka, which is an incredible catch where I held my breath. I was like, did he break his collarbone? Did he separate his shoulder? But I thought back, I was like, oh, I've knocked the wind out of myself making a catch like this one time back in the day. And luckily, that's all it was. Sean McVay said that he just couldn't catch his breath and he puked because he knocked the wind out of himself. And that was pretty much it. No head injury, no broken bones, no separated ligaments or joints. And luckily, Nacua or Mini Puka in this picture here made a great play, got his first touchdown of the season. That was fantastic. But outside of that, I mean, we have other history to talk about, right? Cooper Kupp, third in franchise Rams history, only behind the great Isaac Bruce, the should-be Hall of Famer Torrey Holt, in the history of the team in terms of receiving touchdowns. So if Cooper Kupp wasn't already in your Rams receiving Hall of Fame, right, he should be now, most definitely. So that's fantastic. And on top of that, speaking of records and stuff, shout out to the Rams putting this out and the Rams PR, who does a lot of good stuff of finding cool stats. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp became the first player in NFL history to record 600-plus receptions, 7,500-plus receiving yards, and 50-plus touchdown receptions in a player's first 100 career games. I mean, that's pretty insane. The only dude to do that? That's crazy. King Kupp, Super Cooper, Coach Yarbs, our wide receiver coach likes to call him, whatever you want to call him, dude, is that thank God we didn't trade him. And again, we said if the if losing happened, it would be likely. But he's here. We're winning. He's playing good. Thank God. And then on top of that, one more history thing to go through real fast. Stafford now 10th all-time in career passing touchdowns as he passed Eli Manning. He's not very far away from Matt Ryan. Got a little more for Ben Roethlisberger. But if he says he's going to play a couple more years like he did in the offseason, I think he could climb up the leaderboards a lot more too. So shout out to that passing attack. Without them, we lose this game convincingly. And man, oh man, I'm happy that those guys were ready to go. But speaking of that, any quick thoughts on Colby Parkinson? I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but at least to see him make a play. Real quick, Mark, what are your quick thoughts
I
on
just feel really
Colby
good for
finally?
him. Yeah, I just feel really good for him because it had to be really depressing for him, basically being relegated to a number 2, number 3 tight end. He has to realize that the coaching staff and the fan base have to be a little disappointed in his production. And then he comes through the big TD, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. I'm happy for him. And, I don't know if that necessarily is going to propel him back to being the number 1 tight end. But, hey, it's good to see other guys contributing. Tutu had a big catch on that drive as well.
Yes, he did. And that was good to see. I mean, just crazy how things turn out. But, Paul, what are your quick thoughts on Colby finally scoring as a Ram finally after getting big tight end money this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the team philosophy. Now it's time to really reinforce that. Find your niche, contribute as much as you can, no matter if you're out there for 10 reps or 40 reps, find a way to help the squad. And, you could tell the jubilation on the sideline, the team, they're rooting for him. They understand what's going on. They understand the dynamic. And, just recently they had, the Rams were talking about the Higbee return timeline. So just add that on top of it. So he had every justification to go out there and mope and, feel sorry for himself. But, the guy's a professional. You got to, like I said, you got to hand it to all these guys that are, taking the reduced workload in stride and, contributing to the dubs. So, shout out to him. Nice job today. Got behind the defense, and that was a great catch.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, it's finally good to see that this big human is scoring in the end zone. That was always our issue. Was like, dude, you're huge. Let's get you some touchdowns. Throw it up. But it hasn't worked out. But good to see him finally get on the board. And like you both said, everyone knows what's up with that and how it's just been a giant F on the report card with that signing. But hopefully we see more touchdowns from him. And then we can get in the tournament, and then the contract's worth it if we do well, right? Then you can think of it that way. So we'll see what happens with him going forward within his reps and his playing time. But we move on. And what are your guys' thoughts on our young D-line as a whole? Sometimes just having blunders. There was Byron Young had the face mask. Jared Verse has some altercation on the sideline. I know they had some big moments with play on the field, but what are your quick thoughts on them as a whole today? Just having some just total mental lapses, as you saw Coach McVay point like, hey, come on, everybody, use your brain. And when the cameras caught that. So what are your thoughts on obviously Verse, Byron, and just the unit as a whole losing their cool and just kind of not being disciplined? Kobe Turner jumping off sides yet again, stuff like that. What are your quick thoughts?
Well, that play with Verse, Paul and I talked about this a little bit before we started recording, and I guess there's a rule, very clear rule, to when you try to pull someone out of a scrum like that, it's a flag. I still say, if the ref could have very easily looked the other way, just like, boys, let's get back to playing. Not a big deal, but if that's the rule, I wonder if Verse was aware of it, and if he was aware of it, then bad on him. And then the Byron Young face mask, I think he just reached out, tried to make a play. As soon as he hit the face mask, he knew it. So yeah, not good. But yeah, we had, I think, 2 drives where we just marched them down the field with penalties. So that's not good.
Yeah, no bueno. Luckily, we didn't lose because of it. But yeah. What about you, Paul? What are your thoughts on just the D line, the front seven, just having some really wacky, out of character blunders, or just stuff you're like, come on, guys, you're better than that.
So, I mean, that's one of the characteristics for the Rams this year is just the football IQ is just not there. They really have to clean up the game a little bit for them. I think today was 7 penalties again. So, Listen, this is a talented defense. But the one stat that jumps out at me is, apart from the Raider game, they have given up 20 or more points in every game. So what that's basically telling you, it doesn't matter who they're playing, they're giving up 20 plus points a game. So that's a worrying trend. So I think a large part of that is definitely, and we'll talk about it at the roundtable, it's definitely, it's part of the scheme, it's part of the implementation of the defense, some of the calls. But you can see from a talent standpoint on this roster, I mean, this is a solid defense. You got a veteran secondary in a lot of respects, and you have some really talented young players mixed in. So it's got a nice balance. It should be playing a lot better than it has been. So it still has those peaks and valleys, and that's what we're seeing, right? The peaks and valleys. The penalty on Jared Verse is a great example. If the officials are standing 6 inches away from you, I mean, that just adds to there's only one way to say the stupidity of the penalty. The official is standing 6 inches away from you. That's the last time you want to do anything. That's the last time you want to say anything, right? So those are huge penalties. Those are huge penalties. If you look at some of those drives that were sustained, there were multiple penalties on the Rams defense on two of those very significant drives that led to points for the Patriots. And that can't happen. It's great that, Coach McVay, is taking the kicker to task, but there are a lot of other players that need to be taken to task as well. And I don't know if it's such a great idea to publicly call out your rookie kicker when you don't even have a plan B. So, I mean, that's when you might want to temper your statements there a little bit. But the Rams defense is really, really talented up front. They can generate pressure whenever they need to. Hoyt had a great game as well, but they just have to play more consistently. Their run defense has improved dramatically. Hopefully that's a trend that continues when they go up against the Eagles. But yeah, there's a lot of potential there, but they just got to eliminate those peaks and valleys and be a little bit more consistent across the board.
Yeah, hey, the one play I left off this slide when I put it together is Christian Roseboom's stop on that 3rd and 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah.
another big play.
That was a big play. And shout out to the front seven. And we talked about Fisk on that first, him getting a sack, but I think it's worthy. Usually I'm a little more negative about things, so I'll be the positive here real quick with the D-line having some blunders. So 2-1 right here from Rams PR on X, formerly known as Twitter. Defensive end, D-tackle, Braden Fisk became the 3rd Rams rookie to record multiple 2-sack games during their rookie season, joining Sean Gilbert, if everyone remembers who that is, weeks 12 and 14 of the 1992 season, and Colby Turner, week 12 and 17 of the 2023 season last year. Him and Gilbert both accomplished the feat in a 3-game span. And on top of that, Fisk tied Byron Young with 5, Robert Quinn with 5 sacks for the most by a Rams player through their first 10 career games. I mean, Fisk, to all the haters out there, Rams gave up too much. Oh, they shouldn't have traded up. You can kick rocks today and probably the rest of the season because dude has been absolute money and everything that the Rams had hoped for, everything we had hoped for, and we're just crossing our fingers like, well, I hope that works out. Him, Jared Verse, our first 2 high-end picks in the McVay era, right? A lot of capital given up for the second. McVay's first round draft pick ever. They've been fantastic, and they both deserve to be at the leaderboard with Quinyon Mitchell for Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. 2 Rams and 1 Eagle who are all playing fantastic. But man, oh man, I'm happy for Braden and him really coming into his own as a young player. I mean, fantastic. Sean Gilbert, 1992. I wasn't even alive yet. Fantastic.
University of Pittsburgh has been kind to the Rams, has it not? Think about it.
I think so. So, real quick though, before we move on to some other last minute things here, Mark, the fortune teller.
Yeah.
Hoyt blocks the extra point. He said in the
Yeah.
roundtable, Joe. Everybody, Rams Nation, go back and watch our last roundtable with the keys to victory versus Patriots, where we were getting together and talking about things that needed to happen. Mark smartly and wisely, with his fortune-telling ability, said, Hoyt's going to block a kick of some sorts. And voila, It led
Yeah.
to the victory. Take it away, Mark, the fortune teller.
Well, full disclosure, that was just an off the cuff comment because Paul had predicted a 27-14 Rams win, and I predicted 27-13. So thought I'd be funny and say, well, yeah, the only difference is I have Hoyt blocking a kick. And he had come close. Did he block a kick previously or came close? I forget
He
what
came
happened.
real close, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't want to take any credit for like understanding schematics or predicting that the Rams are going to run a certain stunt and get through to block the kick. It was just more of a joke than anything, but I'm going to take full credit for it. I am a savant. What came through for me. That was kind of I thought it was when they blocked that kick. I looked at my son and I said, if that's Michael Hoyt that blocked that, I'm going to have a good night tonight.
Yeah,
we apologize, Rams Nation. We were going to let Mark give you his stock picks for the upcoming week as well.
Yeah, right.
And we said, wait. That's I think that's just knowledge for us. So we stopped him. So sorry, everybody out there. But that was fantastic. And then the last thing, Cameron Kinchens yet again finding the football to end the game or to make a big difference in the game. I mean, gentlemen, what are your quick thoughts on Cameron Kinchens, who had a very, very, let's just call it bad beginning of the season. We've been critical. He deserved it, had not played well. But since he's been thrusted back in the lineup due to Cameron Curl's knee issue that's been going on, he's been making plays, and I'm very happy about that. But, Paul, what are your thoughts real quick on Kinchens, not being a worry in the back end there as often as he used to be?
Yeah, when you play young players, you have to give them time to learn. You have to also, as a coaching staff, you have to learn what they do well and what situations are best for them, right? And you see the Rams are sorting out a couple of things on the back end there. So, Ram Nation, if you notice, there were a couple of key situations where they moved Lake back into that slot coverage responsibility. So that was interesting, right? Because the Colby's been struggling with that, but the play where Drake May fumbled after the sack. If you watch it closely, it was Colby that was playing the perimeter, and he had tight coverage on the corner, and then Hollywood had dropped that back. He faked that he was blitzing, and he dropped back and took away the safety valve throw. So Drake had to pull it back, and that's what led to the sack and the fumble. So there you go. So once again, like the young players finding their way and being able to utilize all the talent. And, Cam is a talented player. He really, really is. He loves to hit. He's got great ball skills. We've seen that. Curl is playing through that injury, and Curl's a physical player. He was throwing the body around today. He's got to catch those INTs, though. There were 2 there today. He's got to catch it. That was my point from last week. This secondary has to generate more turnovers. I mean, a couple of secondary players today, meaning Rams players in the secondary, had opportunities to pick off a pass, and they have to be a little bit more aggressive, as did Omar as well. But that'll come with time, and that'll come with confidence, because when you're generating that degree of pressure, you can jump routes, you can, tip passes up front and take advantage of that. But it's great to see the young, Cam's not, he's from the U. He's not going to hang his head. No matter what happens out there, he believes in his ability. So it's great to see him take one and put it in his pocket.
Yeah, thank God. What about you, Mark? Cameron Kinchens finally making some plays, multiple weeks.
Well, I mean, I think he's just like Jalen McCullough, just one of those guys that comes along that has a knack of being at the right place at the right time. And I wanted to mention this. I don't know if this is common among NFL teams, but I counted 8 rookies that made significant contributions today. Bo Limmer, Blake Corum, Omar Spates, Jared Verse, Fisk, Tyler Davis, Jalen McCullough, and Cameron Kinchens. I left off Karty. Karty would be another one. Maybe we should leave him off. But rookies stepping up. It's such a good thing to see. Bodes well for the future of this franchise, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's shout out to Leslie. No more F them picks. Be like, how about more picks? And it's fine with me. It's been going well, and thank God we won this game. I would have gone nuclear today on the Rams and everything going on if we would have blown that game. But real quick, gentlemen, outside of things that are other than a Rams win. Everything else went our way. On X, formerly known as Twitter, Roberto Clemente, the football gods have spoken. Yet again, just in case you haven't realized yet, everything went our way. I just want to make that clear. Everything that needed to happen happened along with us winning the game. And just enjoy it. Talk your crap on the internet to your 49er friends if you have any. Talk your crap and say thank you to any Seattle fans that you have. And then if you want to talk crap to some Cardinals fans just because they're on top, then so be it. But today is your day to do those things, Rams Nation. And I'm just very, very pleased that all of that went down today. But real quick, we'll just go through, time of possession. I mean, who would have thought with us being significantly less, we pulled it off. Thank God. The first down, so much less. Total yards, we outgained them. Obviously, there was a lot of big plays that we hit. Passing, Drake May was a issue, but Matthew Stafford had another fantastic day. Rushing finally got over 100. I feel like it's been forever since we've done that. Yards per rush, 4.5. That's a number we're looking for. 4 or more. That's good. 0 turnovers. Got 3 sacks. Gave up 0 sacks. So all these Rams Nation, it was just freaking fantastic. And again, Stafford, 18 of 27, 4 touchdowns. Williams, wishing he could get closer to 20 carries or beyond, but average almost 6. That's what we like to see. Nakua and Cup, one of the best duos, over 100. And then, Fisk with his career day, and Byron Young having some good moments as well. So I'm just so dang happy, gentlemen, that we can finally take a breath, relax for at least another couple days before we got to move on, just like the players and the teams do. But gosh dang it, Rams win. Ramley out there, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Podcast-wise, YouTube, like, subscribe, share this video with any other Rams fans, football fans, NFL fans. And please, let us know in the comments, how good do you feel about the Rams' chances to make the playoff tournament after winning today against the New England Patriots? Let us know. We'll talk soon. Gentlemen, any last words before we get out of here?
Just bring on the Eagles. I think we're 3-point underdogs. If we could steal a win against them, we will be sitting pretty.
Just win, baby. Just win.
Just win. I agree. I concur. And then run that damn football. Good things will happen. Peace, Rams Nation. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Thanks a lot.